All right, welcome. This is Andy Broadway from WIFM Today. Today I have in studio a very good friend of mine. His name is Fidel Hernandez. I met him over a year ago, and I have to tell you that the information that comes out of his heads, his slogans, his quotes, and everything else that comes out of his mouth, out of his head, and most of all from his heart, is incredible. And I am just grateful to have him in the studio today, that I'm able to share some of him with all of you. And I hope that you'll gain the benefit that I've gained of my relationship with Fidel Hernandez. Before we get through here, really, you're going to see really what the impact of coaching is, how it's going to be important in your life, and really what true success is all about. And so, Fidel, give us some background about yourself.
Absolutely. First of all, thank you, Andy. I really appreciate the kind words. A little background about myself. I started when I was 15 years old. And I went to work for a company called American Stores Incorporated. It's a grocery store industry, like Albertsons and Ralph's and so forth. Mm-hmm. And I ended up being a box boy there. And from a box boy, I ended up becoming a store director. I was the youngest store director in the 57-year history of the company.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I was blessed. I had a great team, and we're all able to pull together towards a common goal, which was, to become a successful team. And from there, I kind of got tired of the way that the industry was taking care of people. So I decided to get out of that, and I got into, kind of like from the pan to the, to the hot boiling water.
Sure.
I got involved in the automobile industry.
Whoa, my goodness.
Exactly.
So do they call you guys car dogs? Is that what they call you?
Well, I'm hoping that that's probably the least amount they call us. I know they call us a lot more.
Right.
But yeah, correct. Car dogs is
car dogs. Okay.
Yes, that's like the nice type of terminology.
Gotcha. Okay.
But then I got involved in the car business in 1989 in February. It was a day after Valentine's Day, and I created some pretty nice principles by working at American Stores Incorporated. So when I got involved in the car industry, I remember my mom telling me, she says, you know something, honey, you're going to starve to death because that business is just for vultures. And I said, that's okay. That. Yeah. I go, well, that's okay. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. And I was fortunate enough that I represented Ford, Nissan, and Chevrolet. And for all three entities, I became what they call a ring earner.
A ring earner?
Yeah, that is the top and elite sales force for all Ford, all Chevy, and all Nissan. So 3 different divisions.
Beautiful.
And then I got promoted to become a manager there. And then soon I was running my own store. We're the number 2 Nissan store in the country. And once again, the principles that I learned through life and some of the principles my mom had taught me about caring about people. And that's probably one of the biggest things. I don't think that we as human beings care enough about one another.
Yeah, I believe that.
And we need to realize that, it takes more than one person to create a symphony.
It does.
It creates more than one person to become a community. Mm-hmm. And it definitely creates more than one person to become a team. And then from there, I went into network marketing. Mm-hmm. And I know what you're thinking. Wow.
Yeah, network marketing. Most people will do the little sign. Don't talk to me about that. But you've had some success in the network marketing area.
You know what? Once again, I was fortunate. I pulled 10 of my closest friends from the automobile industry. And we were able to gather top awards. And for the 7 years that I was in it, we were always the fastest growing team.
Wow, that's incredible.
And then in that industry as well, I became a ring earner as well. I was in the top 100 out of 1.7 million associates.
Good night. And we're talking about a pretty big industry here. I mean, a great field. I mean, there's some people that have made some tremendous wealth in the network marketing field.
Correct.
But it does take that select people that have got the right mindset. And like what I keep hearing you say over and over, the team.
Correct.
Yeah.
That one of the things that I do in some of my seminars is I always explain that Michael Jordan, and regardless of whether you like LeBron James or Magic Johnson, I like Magic Johnson because I'm an LA boy.
Right.
But regardless of who you like, they claim that Michael Jordan is probably one of the top 5 basketball players that have ever played the game.
Yeah.
But yet Michael had a difficulty pursuing that ring because they hadn't placed a team around him. So to me, creating the synergy that a team has is really unstoppable. And then everyone can be a ring earner in whatever field that they're in.
Absolutely. So now that brings us today, sitting down and talking in the studio, talking about what is your next project. You've created some great success with great teams. You've created some great team players. In network marketing, what was the size of your team that you had? when you left that field?
A little bit over 50,000 associates.
Wow, that's tremendous.
Yeah,
50,000, that's huge.
And to give you an idea, that I really don't like to talk a lot about money, but it definitely gave me an opportunity to make 7 figures a year.
Beautiful. 7 figures, that's
Yes,
what
sir.
everyone's after. That's great money. That's great money. And it's all because you helped other people get what they wanted. You got
Correct.
what you wanted. I mean, the
Correct.
success principle behind that. So, so what is your next project? What is your project that you're working on now?
Well, what I decided to do was that in 2001, I got out of the network marketing industry, and I created my own coaching company.
Mm-hmm.
And for the last 7 years, we've been coaching just ordinary people achieving extraordinary results, teaching them the principles that I learned from the grocery industry, from my mother, from the automobile industry, and network marketing. See, a lot of people don't realize that all the success principles that we have today were generated thousands and thousands of years ago. And believe me, Andy, I know that you believe in God, but, like everyone always goes, Fidel, is just going to be a church revival. Well, you know what? It kind of is, because a lot of the principles came from one individual, Jesus.
Right.
And whether you're a Mormon, whether you're a Jehovah's Witness, whether you're a Christian, or whether you're a Catholic, we can at least agree on one thing, that a man by the name of Jesus actually was born, and he actually lived his life.
Absolutely.
So a lot of the success principles that we have today, and different life coaches take on those principles and kind of like create them and make them their own. But they actually originated from one person, which was Jesus.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what I've done is that I've taken a lot of those principles and just put a little bit of a different flavor to them, a little different spin. So it's the same old solid principle, but just with a new look.
So I call it the Fidel flavor.
Exactly.
Right? Exactly, right.
Well, actually, you know what's so ironic, that one of my best friends likes to call my thoughts and ideas fidelities, and I thought that was kind of
fidelities.
Yes.
I like that. I've heard a couple of fidelities. Give us a fidelity now about success.
Well, you know what? The very first thing that we need to truly understand before that we can accomplish anything. So whether you work, whether you're a teacher, whether you're a mom or dad, whether you're a stay-at-home mom, we need to realize that the most important thing that God has given us today is life.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that if we become appreciative of that one day, when we wake up in the morning, then you know what, that if you're running late for work, it's okay. If you get a flat tire, it's okay. As long as God has given you a life to change, as long as God has given you life to completely change your outlook and your financial wealth in the future.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So now some people are going to find this CD of going to a seminar of yours. Some people are going to find this CD of visiting your website. Some people are going to find this CD by someone giving the CD to somebody else, like what happens. It's called going viral, that we pass CDs around.
Correct.
So where can people find you? Well, most of all, we'll get to that at the end of the interview, but what is URNext.BIZ? Explain what that is.
Well, that's my next project, like we were talking about. I decided to take all of my principles to the masses where I haven't before. I've always been around a selected group of people, whether they were car people, whether they were network marketers, or whether they were people that were in the grocery industry. It's always been a selected group. But then what I decided to do is that a very good friend of mine at a barbecue said, it's time to use your talent that God has given you and give it to everybody. And that's kind of what URNext.BIZ is doing. And everyone that's, for the listening audience that's out there can actually look us up. We're in the World Wide Web, and it's the letter UR for the letter R, next, NEXT.biz. And they can find us exactly what we're doing.
Well, it's easy to find.